Are you feeling a little tetchy? Or are you generally suffering from a short fuse? Are you a bit miffed, pretty peeved, boiling over maybe? Well, apparently, that's all because you're living here in the Midlands. We're angry. In fact, we're even angrier than the people in Ulster. And trust me, as somebody who's engaged to an Armagh woman, that's really saying something. And it's not me making it up. It's the Irish Association of Anger Management. And regional consultant with the IAAM is Peter Devers. Peter, you're welcome to the programme.
Good morning.
So, how did you come to this conclusion?
Well, our association run programmes across the island of Ireland, and over the last 3 months we've been monitoring the amount of calls that we've received and the location of the calls. And surprisingly enough, the Midlands, the amount of calls that we've had from the Midlands has been more than any other area in the country.
But that's a bit odd, because we wouldn't have the highest population by any stretch.
Exactly, that's the thing that surprised us. Given that they're not the most densely populated area in Ireland, but the calls that we had really says a couple of things. That there's clearly not enough frontline services to deal with anger. So unfortunately, if you were a football team, if anger was a football team in the Midlands, you would have won the Champions League by now.
Lovely. Well, if I can be crude, what is it that's pissing us off?
Well, that's a very good question, actually, because the calls that we've had, the biggest anger trigger for people is not being heard, okay? That consistently comes up for us. You pick up the phone and phone the insurance company, you get put on hold, you're hanging on for about 8 minutes and then the phone goes dead. Oh, yeah,
there's an ad on about that at the moment.
Blood pressure's going through the roof. It keeps us in business, but it's not being heard is the biggest anger trigger. What we've found, people have been presenting with relationship difficulties, losing their temper with the kids, for example, conflict at work, now recession-related issues such as loss of jobs and also alcohol-related. Anger and alcohol don't mix. So if somebody's got an anger problem,
stay away from the booze.
Stay away from the booze, I'm telling you.
Stay away from whiskey in particular.
You guys beat his hands down.
Have you ever noticed whiskey, more than any other drink, seems to make people angry? Or am I slating whiskey unfairly?
Well, having a small tipple, enjoying a little dram myself now and again, I would say no. I think it's all down to alcohol units. What colour it is, what shape or form it comes in, doesn't
matter. If you have too much, you have too much, bottom line.
Exactly. Well, that's a very good question, actually, because there is a drink called, no, I'll not mention the name just in case, but it's made by Benedictine monks, okay? Mm-hmm. And it's sold in the west of Scotland, and there was a national governmental summit to discuss the impact that this drink had. It's a fortified wine, okay? Mm. But there was one particular area in the west of Scotland that it was like a war zone on a Saturday and Sunday.
Gosh.
With people drinking, violence-related, alcohol-related crime, violent crime. So it would be an interesting piece of research, but I mean, certainly the calls that we're getting from the Midlands, it's spiked over the last 3 months, and we're really surprised at that.
And just out of curiosity, are there physiological factors that can make you angry? If you have high blood pressure, for instance, will you have a shorter fuse?
Well, there's two main types of anger, the way people express it. There's the exploder, the person that can explode at the drop of a hat, right? It's like a bullet out of a rifle. It's out, okay? And then there's the imploder, people who stuff in their anger, bottle up for years sometimes, you know? Relating to high blood pressure, depression, insomnia, all these things can be anger-related if people can't express their anger properly. You know, you're sitting, I wish I said that to that clown down in the shop when I saw him on Saturday, you know? People start mulling over things. A lot of anger is related to old hurt, old grudges. So the work that we do is around getting rid of any old baggage that people are carrying and giving people the tools to express their anger in a healthy way.
I take it, though, the approach would be different depending on whether somebody has a physiological problem or whether there's an emotional trigger for their anger.
Yeah, often, as I said, people's anger is triggered by old hurt. For example, if somebody's experienced bullying at school as a child, if I say something to you at the moment, you know, okay, you stupid clown, you've dropped the coffee, as a joke, often it's the 10-year-old boy that would respond. Yeah? So when somebody tailgates you in the car and you go out and give the guy a mouthful, maybe you've had a bad experience at home that day, or over the last couple of weeks something else has gone on. So often it's not the anger of the moment, and that's when people's relationships, jobs get affected.
Yeah, the straw that breaks the camel's back then.
Exactly. It's okay to be angry. It's not okay to be dumping your anger onto other people. Do you know, I think generally people want to be persons of integrity, do you know, and treat people civilly, but unfortunately the society that we live in just now, there's much more pressure.
So in a nutshell, how is it treated?
Well, with honesty and not kid gloves. The programmes that we run, we are very choosy in the people who do them. A lot of people want to do an anger management programme because they want a wee bit of paper to take to the judge to say, oh, I've done an anger management programme. It doesn't work. The key factor for somebody changing is motivation. Somebody's really got to want to change. That's the first thing. People have to be open and honest about themselves. Why are they angry? Is there any old hurt there? Is there any past childhood experience or experience in their life that's fueling their anger? And more often than not, there is. The biggest mistake people make is they don't buy a bit of time. They don't stop and think and look at the bigger picture before they kick off. If people can do that, that's the first golden rule of anger management. Any of your listeners, I'll ask them to do that. Stop and think and look at the bigger picture. If they can do that over the next couple of days, I'll guarantee you life will be a lot easier. It's not going to resolve the issue that's made them angry, but when they do come to deal with it, they won't be fueled, they won't be activated. It's very difficult. It's a difficult emotion, but it's not impossible to temper your anger. And
so maybe there is some merit in the old taking 10 deep breaths and reflecting for a brief pause.
Bang on. I mean, I know it's dime store psychology, but it does actually work at times. It's difficult to take 10, especially when you're angry. It's difficult to count to 10. It's difficult to breathe and concentrate on that. But once people get the hang of that and start tuning into their body, what's going on in my body just now? Is my heart beating faster? Am I clenching my teeth? Am I clenching my fists? Once people get more aware of what's going on in their body, they get more of a chance to avoid hurting people. That's the work that we do in the programme, and the feedback we've had has been good.
Difficultemotions.com is your website.
Difficultemotions.com. We have a free 24-hour anger emergency pack on that website, so your listeners can go on and download that. We also have a programme running on the 18th and the 19th of June in the Radisson. So anybody with an anger problem, give us a call or contact the website, and we'll give them the tools. Whether they use them or not is up to themselves. But the reason why, to answer your question, there's been so many calls from the Midlands, I think frontline services are lacking in the Midlands. Other areas like Ulster are recognising that putting people on medication for anger isn't always the answer.
All right, Peter, we have to leave it there. Thank you very much for taking our call.
You're very welcome.
That's Peter Devers, Regional Consultant with the Irish Association of Anger Management. Sinead says, if people worked with me, then they'd have good reason to be angry. Well, here, take that, okay? And that, and that, and that. Now, you want anger? That's anger. Oh, crap, now I have to tidy all of this up. News is on the way. Chat to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.